Konnichiwa minasan! Tasukete Jebus-kun yokoso! Kyou no episodo wa Bato za General desu. Hajimemashou. Hey everybody, welcome to Save Me Jebus.
Oh, save me, Jebus!
Episode 5. So, apart from all the previous episodes, I think that we finally reached the point where the show is just kind of doing its thing. It's not really trying to have anything crazy to say. I think that it's just kind of like, all right, episode 1 through 4 were the introduction episodes, and now we are kind of just jumping into it and having fun with our characters. And that's the way I would describe this episode. I would just describe this episode as a solid, fun episode. There's really nothing depressing going on. The show is just very, very tongue-in-cheek about its subject matter. There's even a scene at the very end of the episode where Bart is talking to the camera and breaking the fourth wall, and I'll get to that. But yeah, I think that we finally reached the point where the show is just kind of like, here we are. This is us. So, let's show you just how crazy our premises can get. No more depression, no more heartache. Let's just jump into it, okay? I really don't have a whole lot to say. I don't have a whole lot to preface in this episode. So let's just fill it in and just jump into it. And if you don't hit the like button, then I'm gonna throat punch you or something. So episode 5 is called Bart the General, and it opens up with not really an opening. What we get is just the Simpsons logo coming out from the clouds, and then I think we get a little bit of Springfield Elementary, and from there it kind of dissolves or fades into the Simpsons house, and then the episode just begins. And it begins with Lisa baking for her teacher. This is something that I really loved about The Simpsons, and I noticed it right from when I was a kid, that everything that happens in the beginning of the episode has absolutely no consequence to what happens in the main plot. It's just kind of like, this is where we're starting at, and we're going to get the hell away from there as quickly as possible. And I haven't paid enough attention to the previous episodes to see if they did that then, but they're definitely doing it here. Because the episode starts off with Lisa baking cupcakes for her teacher. And Bart and Homer both want some. And Homer kind of understands that, okay, they're not mine. But Bart insists on having some. And he bugs her all the way until they get on the bus. And she's pretty much giving everyone cupcakes except for Bart. And it's really messed up because Bart, while he was being a nuisance at first, he's like, okay, clearly this isn't working. Let me go ahead and try humbling myself to my sister. And Lisa's eating it up. She says something like, what do you like best about me? And Bart says something like, your generous nature and your gift giving. And so she says, well, close your eyes and you'll get a big surprise. And at that moment, the bus kind of goes over a bump or something, and she drops the cupcake. And rather than saying anything about it, she just stuffs it in Bart's mouth, and Bart kind of just accepts it. And he's like, you're the best. But actually, once they get to the schoolyard, one of Nelson's minions, who we'll never probably see again, he snatches Lisa's cupcakes away from her, and then they get crushed. So Lisa's teacher never gets her cupcakes, but nobody ever talks about it. And that's exactly what I meant by saying that the start of the show has nothing to do with the end of the show. And it's all right. I mean, I just think it's really funny the way it is in The Simpsons, because it usually gets pretty zany, pretty wild, but It takes a minute to get there because right now it's pretty reasonable. A couple seasons in, it's gonna get pretty crazy. I can't wait to talk about that with you guys. But anyways, so Bart stands up to Nelson's minion, and Lisa tells him not to because he's friends with Nelson, and Bart fights him anyways. And Nelson comes and intervenes, and Bart actually punches Nelson in the nose, and Nelson bleeds. And everyone's like, whoa. Somebody says, like, Nelson, you're bleeding. He's like, nah, it happens all the time. And then he actually feels the blood and realizes that it's his blood. And he's like, whoa, you made me bleed my own blood. You're gonna pay for that. And then Principal Skinner comes and intervenes, kind of kicking everybody out. It's like, all right, get to class, everybody. And Nelson tells Bart, I'm gonna get you after class. And Bart's scared. And he's like, but Principal Skinner tells him, no, go on. He'll get you after class. It's all right. Now hurry. There's learning afoot. Oh man, too good. All right, so Bart is daydreaming in the class, and it doesn't go well. Bart's daydreams just don't go well. In episode 2, is it episode 2 when he's daydreaming about the test, and like it just goes to crap? It's the same thing here. All right. So, anyways, so the school ends, and Bart, he's trying to sneak off, and just when he thinks that he's gonna make it, Nelson shows up, and then they beat him up, and it's like it's a wide shot of like first person perspective of Nelson just wailing on Bart's face, like just punching him, bum 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 bum. And he's like, all right, guys, you guys I really learned my lesson, man. We don't have to do this again. And Nelson and his minions, they throw Bart into a trash can, and then they tell him, we're going to do this again tomorrow. And one of them says, is 3:15 okay with you? And Bart says, no, not really. Well, too bad. They kick the trash can with Bart in it, and it rolls all the way down to the Simpson house. Bart walks in. He's all beat up, and Marge and Homer both notice it. And he's like, what happened? And he's like, well, I learned my lesson about standing up to my sister. And he's like, so you got in a scuffle. And Bart just goes away. He goes into the restroom. He crawls into the bathtub. Homer comes in, and he sees Bart crying. This is what I was talking about when I said that the show takes a step away from the realism. Because this is where it could have turned into like a real moment between Homer and Bart, as Homer sees his son crying. And what Homer proceeds to do is grab a blow dryer and just blow dry Bart's tears away. It's actually pretty funny. And Bart tells him, like, Dad, I can't do it, and he mentions the word bully, and Marge overhears this, and she kind of comes in, and she tells him to go to Principal Skinner, and Homer's like, no, that's gonna violate the code of the schoolyard, and he said that he'd rather have Bart die. But Marge encourages Bart to try and empathize with Nelson, understand why he's a bully, and Homer says, nah, Bart, you gotta fight dirty, man. There's nothing wrong with attacking someone when their back is turned. It's all part of the Simpsons way of life, or something like that. And it's so comical, because the next day, when Bart confronts Nelson, he starts off by throwing some mud on him, and he throws a punch, and it doesn't do anything. And I've actually had dreams when I was a kid where I get in a fight, and my punches have like the same amount of effect that Bart's punch has on Nelson, where it connects, but nothing happens. So it was a scene that was a little too real for me, because I've had these types of dreams a lot when I was a kid. Anyways, so so he ends up getting beat up again, and Lisa's eating her ice cream, and Bart comes rolling down, and she says, hey, you need to go to Grandpa Simpson. He's the toughest Simpson alive. He'll help you. So then Bart goes to the retirement home. There's Grandpa Simpson. He's oh my god, Grandpa Simpson. When Bart goes to visit Grandpa, he's writing a list of words that he doesn't want to hear on television. He says that advertisements depict old people wrong, since a lot of old people are bitter and resentful because they remember the good old days. Some of the words that he said that he doesn't want to hear on television is, I think, bra and horny and some other words. It was just really funny. So Bart comes in and he tells him that, hey, I need help with the bully. And he's like, well, you just gotta stand up. You can't let them take anything that belongs to you. You gotta defend yourself. And then one of the residents comes in trying to take Abe's newspaper. He ends up losing it, and he's like, okay, well, I clearly am not good enough to help you. So he takes him to Herman. He takes him to the war vet, apparently. But I think that he's just a war enthusiast, because Bart notices that he has no arm. And so Bart asks him, did you lose your arm in the war? And Herman responded by saying that the next time someone tells him to keep his arm inside the bus, that he should do it. So it's a little vague, and he's like he's like really into war lingo. And he says something that everything is legal with a declaration of war and stuff. And so he makes sure that Bart goes about it correctly. And Bart tells Grandpa, like, I think this guy is nuts. And Grandpa goes, this guy is out of his mind. We can't fail. So Bart invites all of the kids to his treehouse at 1500 hours. And in parentheses, 3 o'clock. And he says, we all know why we're here, right? And everyone says, no, why? He's like, to fight Nelson. And he says, I can't promise you victory. I can't promise you good times. And everyone just starts to walk out. And so Bart changes it to, I promise you victory. I promise you a good time. And everyone cheers him on. And so the training montage begins. At one point during the training montage, Bart slaps one of the kids, tells him that he doesn't want any wimps in his squadron or whatever. And Grandpa slaps Bart and tells him that you can do all of these things. You can push men off a plane, march them off a cliff, and send them off to die on some godforsaken rock, but for some reason you can't slap them. Now apologize to that boy right now. And so Bart says, sorry man, and the kid goes, it's cool. And then the training montage continues. And at one point, all of the kids are attacking a dummy that's supposed to be Nelson. And then Herman comes in and he absolutely destroys the dummy. He has one of those guns that has like the blade at the tip. I don't know what they're called, but yeah, he just kind of uses that to slash the dummy. And he's screaming, and everyone's just kind of like, whoa. But yeah, so then comes the day that they finally launch the attack. Herman, Bart, and Grandpa are in the treehouse. Intelligence comes in and tells Bart where Nelson is. Bart takes off, and both Herman and Grandpa have a moment where they talk about how they feel alive. And Grandpa has like this nice little speech where he talks about how he thought that his time was over, that he would never experience this type of feeling again. And he says, thank heavens for children. And so Bart launches the attack. He tells Nelson that he's going down, and Nelson says, you in what army? And then he goes, this one. And all of the kids surround him with water balloons. And so they just start launching the attack. They just start throwing them back and forth. And while all of this is going on, Nelson starts running away with his minions right behind him. At one point, they pass by the Simpsons house, and Homer comes out because of the noise, and he says, all right, you kids, keep it down. And Grandpa Simpson throws a water balloon at Homer. And Homer, oh my God, Homer looks up and he says, hey, you up in the tree, the tall gray-haired kid. Oh my God, what the hell, Homer? and Grandpa just keeps throwing water balloons at him. It's really funny. So they finally have Nelson backed up into a corner, and the minions immediately cowered out. They say, we were only following orders, and thank God, because I hated their character designs and I never want to see them again. So, we'll see. We'll see if they come back in season 1. But I know that they're not here for long. And good riddance, because who likes the minion kids, right? So, they have their victory. And Lisa gets kissed in the way that replicates the photo of the sailor kissing the girl on the street. And Lisa says, ew, knock it off, and slaps the kid. And it's kind of reminiscent of what happens in real life. Because if you know that photo that I'm talking about, I'll go ahead and put it up on the screen for you guys. If you guys know about this photo, it's been romanticized heavily that the sailor was kissing his woman upon returning from World War II. And it's supposed to be like this cute moment. But the truth was that he just went and assaulted this woman on the street by kissing her. And she wasn't asking for it. He just got caught up in the moment and just laid a kiss on her. And it was a real problem. I don't know if that information was public by this point, but the Simpsons writers, they sure captured that realism there, right? So Bart has Nelson tied up, and he says, well, now that you've learned your lesson, I'll untie you. And Nelson says, the second you untie me, I'm gonna get you, man. And Bart goes, well, with that attitude, I'm not gonna untie you. And Nelson says, well, you're gonna have to untie me sometime. When Bart kind of feels a little helpless, Herman comes in to the rescue, and he says, well, I prepared for this. And he writes up a peace treaty, because why? Apparently Herman is a war otaku. I guess. I don't think that this guy actually fought in a war. I think that he's just a huge enthusiast. And the episode ends with everybody eating cupcakes, and then just when we think that we're gonna get the credit screens, we cut to a scene of Bart sitting on the table at a library, and he says, ladies and gentlemen, what you saw today is not an actual representation of war. He says, war is neither glamorous nor fun. There are no winners, only losers. There are no good wars with the following exceptions: American Revolution, World War II, and the Star Wars trilogy. And if you want to learn more, go to your local library. There's a lot of books with gory pictures. Good night, everyone. Peace, man. And that's the episode. And like I said, this episode was fun. It just was solid all around. There wasn't a moment that had a lull. Like, it's very like point by point by point. Lisa makes cupcakes. Bart wants a cupcake. Lisa gets bullied for the cupcakes. Bart defends him. Bart defends Lisa for giving her a cupcake. Bart faces the bully. Bart gets bullied. Bart goes to Grandpa for self-defense. Bart is introduced to Herman. Herman teaches Bart how to launch an attack. Bart recruits the kids. They have a training montage, and then they launch the attack, and then Bart wins. And that's it. Like, everything just meshes well and just leads into the next scene so perfectly. It's such a fun episode. I haven't been giving these episodes any like numbered rating, but it's very solid. I would watch this episode again anytime at all. Anytime at all. Alright, so that's pretty much it. We'll see you guys next week for episode 6 of Save Me Jebus. And we'll be talking about Moaning Lisa. The meaning of life in 2nd grade have Lisa playing the blues solos until she jams with a kindred spirit. Homer seeks tutelage to beat Bart at video boxing. I'll see you guys then. Bye, cha.